Hi, my name is Scarlett, and I've always been the most popular and beautiful girl in the class. You may think that my life sounds amazing, but trust me, it isn't. Being beautiful also has its downsides, especially when everybody stereotypes me because I'm blonde. One time in primary school, my teacher asked me to give a speech to the whole school about climate change. But as I walked onto the stage, my body just froze in fear. I was experiencing stage fright. Climate change is... My legs felt like they would tremble into another dimension.
Ha! She doesn't even know what she's talking about!
Looks like she gave up beauty for brains.
Everyone erupted into laughter.
No, I do.
And unfortunately, because of my stage fright, everyone thought I was dumb. My bad reputation stuck throughout the rest of my time at school, despite my good grades. Like this one time at school, we were hanging out when suddenly I heard a shout from across the field. The crowd was forming, and I rushed over to find a young, nerdy boy being picked on by the mean boy, Oscar.
Your eyes look like cubes. From now on, they should call you Cube Boy.
Oscar, leave him alone! You shouldn't pick on him for needing glasses. At least he has brains.
Unlike you.
The other kids laughed, and Oscar huffed and ran away in embarrassment. Are you okay? I expected some kind of thank you, but all I got was...
I don't need your help, especially not from a blockhead.
Fine! Next time I won't help you! When I got home that evening, I was really nervous. Today was the day I would ask my mom if I could study to be a doctor. You see, I've always wanted to help people, and it's always been a huge dream of mine. Mom, I have a favor to ask. I want you to sign these university papers so I can go study medicine and—
Hold the phone! You want to study medicine? As if! You will become a model. We can't be wasting those godlike features of yours. But no buts! Ugh!
I stormed off to my room in anger. If my mom wouldn't let me study medicine, I'd just have to trick her into thinking I was going to uni for fashion. She would never know. She hardly even cared about my life. I was so excited to get started, but as I walked in, someone kicked a ball right at my head.
Ouch!
I looked up to find Prince Charming. At least he looked like a prince.
Are you okay?
Wow. Thanks. Are you new here as well?
Wait, you don't know who I am? Typical of a snobby princess like yourself.
Excuse you?
It's me, Charlie, from school.
That nerdy kid I rescued from that brute Oscar. But you're so handsome now.
Look, the fashion department is that way. This is the medicine section.
I know that. I'm going to become a doctor.
Sure thing.
What was that? What was wrong with this dude? He hadn't even apologized for hitting me in the head with a ball. In my first lecture, the stares of the other students were a little distracting.
Okay, class. Who can tell me what the meaning of pyrexia is?
I raised my hand immediately, but another guy beat me to it. My blood boiled when I saw it was Charlie. He sniggered at me before answering.
Pyrexia is hypothermia.
Unfortunately, Charlie, that is incorrect. Anyone else? Oh, me! Yes?
Pyrexia is another word for fever.
Correct! Well done,
Scarlet.
Scarlet. Maybe Charlie here can learn a thing or two from you.
Now it was my turn to look smug. Oh, I loved the look on his shocked face. Later at lunch, I went to sit at a quiet table when a shy girl approached me. Hi, my name is Katie, and I just wanted to say that you did really great in that lecture and— But before she could say anything else, a flock of people pushed her aside and surrounded me.
That was amazing.
You're hot, and you've got the brains.
But before they could press in any further, I took a big sip of my milk and sprayed them all with it.
Ew, gross!
Let me pass, please. I went to sit at the table with Katie while they all stared in shock. You were saying? The crowd shuffled away in shock, but I didn't care. They had pushed Katie aside so rudely, as if she didn't exist. Thank you for that, but you don't have to sit with me. I understand if you don't want to. Oh, but I do. Tell me more about yourself, Katie. We got chatting, and sure enough, we really hit it off. One afternoon, Katie and I were studying in the library, and I went to get a book from the shelf, but it was too high. Suddenly, someone appeared from behind and got it for me.
Thank you.
Oh, it's you.
Aren't you gonna thank your knight in shining armor?
I smirked and leaned in. I was only playing with him, but when I leaned in, his face flushed with the brightest red I've ever seen. Was he blushing?
Whoa, relax. I wasn't actually gonna kiss you.
Good. I would hate it if you, kissed me because, you're gross.
Then he ran out of there as if his pants were on fire. Well, that was weird. When I returned to Katie, I told her about Charlie being there.
What? Did he see me? Wait a second. Do you have a crush on Charlie? Shh, don't tell anybody.
But wait, are you sure you have a crush on him?
Because, no offense, but he's
Kind of a dimwad.
No, really, he's actually kind and sweet.
Are we talking about the same Charlie?
Listen, I was wondering if you could, help me out.
I didn't know how I felt about this shocking news, but I agreed to help her. I started off by giving her a makeover. We boosted up her style, brushed her hair, and by the end of it, she was looking like a model.
How did you do it?
You already had it in you, baby. When we went to class that day, everyone was stunned by Katie. But when Charlie walked in, he didn't even glance at Katie. Instead, he turned to me.
Hello, princess.
Really? That's the best you can do? No matter what we tried, Charlie paid Katie no attention. As we left class, though, we ran into a face from the past.
Oscar?
Oh, hi, Scarlet. How?
When he noticed Katie, his jaw dropped.
Are you Oxygen? Because I need you in my life.
I rolled my eyes, but Katie was blushing. Ugh, come on, Katie. You can do better than Oscar. Even though Charlie didn't seem to care about Katie, he had no problem teasing me all the time. Eventually, I decided I would do Katie a favor and just tell Charlie she liked him. So one evening, I knocked on the door to his dorm.
Scarlet, what are you doing here?
Listen, I'm just gonna come out and say it. My bestie Katie has a crush on you, and she's a really wonderful person and you should date her.
Oh, there's one problem though. I kinda have a crush on someone else.
Seriously, who could be better than Katie?
Well, you.
My jaw fell open and I started gasping like a fish. And I don't know how I did it, but I threw my cup of juice in his face and ran off. I guess I was just so confused. He was always teasing me. How could he have a crush on me? I didn't tell Katie about the strange encounter. I didn't even know how I felt. But the universe works in mysterious ways, because one day, our professor assigned us partners for a science project, and he paired me with Charlie.
I wish I could be paired with Charlie.
It was so awkward. Somehow, Charlie and I managed to finish our project, and the day came to present it to the class. But when I walked in front of everyone, my legs started wobbling like jello. This presentation,
What's wrong?
I have major stage fright.
I saw Charlie hesitate, but then he held my hand tightly.
Don't worry, I'm right here.
And somehow, that small touch gave me enough courage to speak. After we finished, I hugged Charlie and I felt like I was blushing too. But then I saw Katie in the crowd and I immediately felt a wave of guilt wash over me. Why did she have to like him? But surprisingly, when I met up with Katie later, she gave me some shocking news.
You remember that guy Oscar we met the other day? Well, he asked me on a date, and I said yes. What?
But I thought you liked Charlie.
I mean, I did, but he pays me no attention, and Oscar has been so loving.
I was so happy for Katie, but for reasons she didn't realize. One night, there was a massive party, and Katie forced me to go since Oscar was going. When we arrived, she left to go find Oscar, and I went outside by the pool. I was standing there, brooding in my own thoughts, when suddenly a crazy dude ran past and knocked me into the pool.
Help!
My dress was so heavy in the water that it kept dragging me down. I was so scared. But then a strong hand grabbed me out of the water and held me in a tight hug.
You're okay. It's okay.
We hugged tightly, and I realized in that moment how amazing Charlie was. So I kissed him. It felt magical, but then there was a cry behind us.
How could you? Katie, you don't even like Charlie anymore. You're with Oscar now, and...
But she ran off before I could say anything else. From that night on, Katie stopped speaking to me, avoiding me in hallways, ignoring me in class. It was so immature. But I didn't realize just how far she would go when I got to my room and found a big sign on the wall in red, "Don't become a doctor." I wondered who could have done this when there was a sudden knock at the door. I was shocked to see Charlie there, looking all nervous.
Hey, Scarlet, I was wondering.
When Charlie saw the message, his eyes widened.
Oh no, don't worry. We'll clean this up.
Charlie calmed me down, and then together we started washing off the paint. But then there was another knock at the door. Man, was I popular today. I went to answer and was surprised to see Katie.
Listen, Scarlet, we need to talk.
At that moment, Charlie stepped into view and Katie's eyes widened. Then she looked angry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Majesties. Am I interrupting something?
Suddenly, I realized who was behind the threatening message.
It was you! You wrote the message!
I showed her the red paint on the wall.
Do you really think I would stoop that low? That's it! You've insulted me enough! We're through!
Katie and I officially broke our friendship. I was sad, but I couldn't stay friends with someone who would write a message on my wall like that. Luckily, though, I had Charlie. He asked me out, and I said yes. And we were having a study session one day when Charlie poked my nose.
You look so cute when you're thinking.
We leaned in and we were about to kiss when I picked up the phone and Mom answered.
What's up, Mother? Scarlet, I'm on my way to see you. What? No. You? Oh, I'm going through a tunnel. I'll see you soon.
My heart dropped like a stone. If my mom found out I was studying medicine, she would force me to leave uni. Quick, remove any evidence of medicine from my room.
What?
Just do it.
With Charlie's help, I took down all of my doctor's posters, my medicine books, my papers, everything. We then replaced everything with fashion-themed stuff just in time for the door to open, and there was my mom.
Scarlet! Oh, how I've missed you, sweetie. And who's this young man? My friend, Charlie. Ooh, another fashion student. Who's your favorite fashion icon?
Abraham Lincoln.
What?
Anyway, glad you got to meet Charlie, but he's gotta go. Bye, Charlie!
I was so relieved when my mom finally left. There was one strange moment, though, as she was leaving. Listen, Scarlet, is there anything you want to tell me before you leave? No? Okay. That short scare with my mom was soon forgotten about. The next day, when Charlie invited me for a picnic, it was so romantic. Oh no, I forgot I made sandwiches. I left them in my room.
Don't worry, I'll go get him.
He left from my room, but a few minutes later, he came running back in a panic.
There's smoke coming from your dorm.
What?
We ran over to find all my medicine papers were destroyed, burned to a crisp.
No! All my research! My hard work! Who did this?
There was a sound from the closet, and we both froze.
I think the culprit is still in here.
We crept over and Charlie flung the door open. I was fully expecting to find Katie there, but I was shocked to see my mom instead.
Mom? You were behind this! And that message, did you write that too? Yes. I'm sorry, honey, but when I found out you were studying medicine, I had to put a stop to it. Why? Because you're beautiful. It would be an injustice not to become a model. Can't you see that I'm more than just a pretty face? All my life, people have called me dumb and stupid just because I don't look like your typical smart nerd or whatever. I need you to support me with this. It's my dream to become a doctor.
And she's really smart. Smartest in our class, actually.
I smiled at him gratefully, and then my mom let out a sigh.
I suppose I have been a little harsh. Fine. I'll let you become a doctor, but only if you promise to keep up your skincare routine. I would never dream of letting that go.
We all laughed, and it seemed this was the end of my story. But there was one more thing that needed resolving. Graduation came along, and I was honored with giving the valedictorian speech. I expected the same stage fright as before when I walked on stage, but surprisingly, I felt very calm.
All my life, people have told me what I'm supposed to be. Nothing more than a pretty face. But today proves them wrong.
The crowd cheered, and as I walked off the stage, Katie appeared.
Scarlet, I
I owe you an apology. My parents were the ones who sabotaged my thesis. I'm sorry I accused you wrongly. And things with Charlie, I'll break up with him if you need me to. I'll do anything for you.
No, don't do that. I'm with Oscar now, and just because I used to have a crush on Charlie doesn't mean you can't date him. Let's make sure a guy never comes between us again. Never.
We hugged, and it was the perfect end to my story.
You're so cruel, Kiara. You know what? One day something bad is going to happen to you, and no one will help you because the truth is, you're awful.
Hi, my name is Kiara from Louisiana. Please like and subscribe. Mom passed away when I was born, so my multi-billionaire dad raised me alone. And he spoiled me with money. Everyone fawned over me, but I knew it was just because I was a billionaire's daughter. One girl, Rita, the girl you saw earlier, was especially annoying in her attempts to please me. She will follow me everywhere.
Oh, you spilled juice on your sneakers.
It's waterproof.
Oh, sorry.
People would say she was super nice, but I thought she was too fake and itched to be rid of her. So when I invited her to my 17th birthday party and was about to cut the cake, I stepped up to her and pulled off her wig.
Look, guys! Rita's hair is actually 2 inches long!
All the kids in the neighborhood were there, including her crush, Derek. Her face went red, and she uttered those words of doom to me. She stopped visiting and talking to me after that, but that was a score for me. While I pretended to be the happiest outside, at home, I was lonely. Dad wasn't always around, and I didn't want to socialize with the maids, so I kept busy on social media. One afternoon, I read a viral tweet about a bank robbery that happened that day in Louisiana. The robbers were being sought by the police. I barely had time to think about it because my bedroom door burst open just then.
Hey, honey.
Dad! It had been over 2 weeks since my dad left for one of his business trips. He never told me what he did there, only that it was top secret, and he couldn't take me with him.
I just came to see your face. I'm going back right now.
Is it safe? I heard some robbers.
Sorry, my princess. I'll contact you.
I noticed then that Dad looked really tense. What's going on, Dad?
You're surrounded. Open this door right now.
Suddenly, the reflection of flashing sirens filled my room. I rushed to the window and looked out to see police cars parked in our driveway and many armed policemen heading to the door. I turned around to tell Dad what I saw, but he was racing out of the room. It was like a bad movie. The police caught my dad before he could escape and arrested him for years of cyber fraud and the recent bank robbery. All of our servants ran away. I was shocked to my bones. I couldn't believe Dad was a criminal. I stayed up all night in the house alone and in tears, wishing for the first time that I had a friend, even if it was just a weirdo like Rita. Oh, I missed her now. How was I going to face people? It was all over the news what my dad had been doing all along. To make things worse, the next day, 2 men from a security agency came and told me that they would be confiscating all of Dad's possessions, including my car and our house. Where will I live?
You will be leaving with me.
I stared at the middle-aged woman who I hadn't noticed before behind the men. And you are?
I'm your mom's older sister from Texas, Mary.
Texas? The state of cowboys and farm animals? Ew! I broke out into a run. I refused to live with an aunt who I had never seen before. She looked so poor.
Hey, come back here.
I ran at breakneck speed until I got to Rita's house. Rita! Please, open up!
What are you doing here?
Rita! Please forgive me. Please tell your parents to adopt me.
My parents can't harbor the daughter of a criminal. Sorry to disappoint.
I probably deserved what she said to me, but there was no way I was going back to the house with that woman waiting to take me to Texas of all places. I wandered aimlessly for an hour until I found myself at the park. Tired, I sat on the bench and soon dozed off. My mistake, because when I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a small, dingy bedroom. Where am I? The woman who called herself my aunt appeared at the doorway.
You're finally awake. Welcome to Texas.
What? I was at the park in Louisiana last time I remembered. She told me they had searched for me and found me asleep on a bench there. Because of her work, she had to return to Texas today, so with the help of those security agents, I was bundled into her car, and to their surprise, I remained asleep all the way there. Take me back, right now!
Kiara, you should be grateful for this opportunity to change scenery.
She was right. If Rita could act that way towards me, what would the rest of the kids in the neighborhood do? Everyone would be making fun of me. can I get something to eat?
Sure.
Soon, she served me a tray of food that I couldn't make out what it was. What is this?
White bean soup.
This is a meal for peasants.
Half bread is better than none.
Left with no choice, I ate the meal, but vowed to order something more befitting in the morning. But in the morning, when I tried to order breakfast from a nearby breakfast delivery, I found out that the credit card Dad gave me had been blocked. How could I live in poverty? For days, I stayed holed up in my tiny room. Aunt Mary would go back to work and come back to find me in the same position. Sometimes I rejected her peasant food.
Your food has gone cold.
The food is beneath me.
If it's so bad, why don't you find work to do so you can earn money to afford your favorite meals?
I wasn't born to work. I knew I gave her a really tough time, but I was so mad at how my world had turned upside down, I couldn't see anything else. Until one stormy night.
Ah! I hate storms! Aunt Mary!
I came across her sleeping on the floor in the living room. Hey, why are you on the floor? Go to your bedroom.
You're sleeping in it.
That's your bedroom. You left it for me? I hadn't bothered to explore the house, so I had no idea it was the only bedroom here. But why would she do that? She had nothing to gain from me. You're sleeping on the floor here for me to sleep on the bed? Why did you bring me here when you're not even comfortable?
You're my precious niece. Would you prefer I left you to be taken to a foster home?
Tears filled my eyes. All along I had been a brat to her when she had actually done me a favor by showing up. I doubted I would have survived in a foster home. I vowed to be a better niece to Aunt Mary from then on and help her out. So the next day, I went with her to meet Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the couple she worked for in their mansion, and apply for a part-time job. Ma'am, sir, I would also love to work here part-time.
Great. We are in need of another hand in the kitchen.
Thank God it was not the farm. The wages they proposed to pay was nothing like what my dad gave me on a weekly basis, but at least I was earning it legally. On my first day of work, I dressed in one of the few designer clothes Aunt Mary had packed for me. As I made my way to the mansion, I passed a plainly dressed girl who had her back to me and was shoveling mud from an empty ranch into a wheelbarrow like a pro. The next second, I felt something wet and sticky land on my back. Mud! It was mud on my Dior shirt! Are you blind? Do you know how much this shirt cost? She turned around to face me, and I almost lost my footing. She was so beautiful. Bright green eyes, dark hair with bangs, a leanly built figure, and even though she was quite tall, I could tell she and I would be around the same age.
Sorry, Princess. I don't have eyes at the back of my head.
But when she spoke, my awestruck state shattered and I regained my temper. Oh, you dare to insult me after what you did?
Hey, stop barking. Who wears a Dior shirt to work anyway?
She even had the gulls to look amused! You witch! I rushed toward the ranch to grab some mud and throw it right back at her top. But when I looked in her eyes again, I just couldn't do it. Thank your stars, I can't bear to touch mud.
Ooh, scary.
Ah! She was infuriating! After my event with the silly girl, I cleaned the kitchen and went on to do my last task for the day, serve the Smiths dinner. On getting to the dining room, I froze when I saw who sat at the dining table with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The mud girl! She had cleaned up all the dirt and wore fresh clothes, but there was no mistaking her. She gave me a huge smirk when our eyes met.
Oh, Kiara, have you met our daughter Mia? Come closer and say hi. Don't be shy. Yes, Kiara, come say hi.
Hi, Mia. Panicking inwardly, I quickly set the table and served their food, afraid she was going to spill everything about how I had spoken to her and get me fired. But all she did was bore holes into the side of my head with her piercing green eyes until I left. Gosh, did she not know it was rude to stare? Later, when I came to clean up the dining table, Mrs. Smith sat alone with a smile on her face to announce that Mia had chosen me to be her help.
That's not a problem, right?
No, ma'am. Inside, I boiled with anger. The spoiled brat wanted me to be her personal maid so she could torture me.
Good. So go upstairs and let her tell you what she expects of you.
I climbed the stairs to her room like it was haunted. Hello? Her room was much bigger and well decorated than mine back at the mansion. Why was a girl of her class shoveling mud? Is this some kind of joke? Turning me into your personal slave?